All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast, your premier podcast with the spotlight on section hikers. And for this episode, I am continuing on my section hike this summer on the Appalachian Trail. I am still in the state of New York, and I am currently standing at the intersection of the Appalachian Trail and Franciscan Way, which I just left the Appalachian Market this morning, and I am about 0.7 miles into my hike. And today I am going from the Appalachian Market, which northbound mile is 1,415.1. I am hiking 8.7 miles to Dennytown Rd, which is northbound mile marker 1,423.8. But right now I am standing and getting ready to cross Franciscan Way. And if you are in Far Out, if you want to go down to the Graymore Spiritual Life Center in Far Out, it says cross Franciscan Way next to a grassy field in a red barn-like building, heading south along Franciscan Way for about 0.4 miles, leads to the baseball field pavilion of the Graymore Spiritual Life Center, which may be used by hikers as a campsite. I did stay at the baseball field in 2015, but today I am walking across the street and continuing to head north on the Appalachian Trail. And yesterday took the day off, hung out pretty much all day at our campsite at Clarence Fondstock State Park. And I did ask for the pronunciation when we checked in, and they say Fondstock State Park. So we were in site number 12 on Wednesday night, and then last night, and we are moving on today to another campsite somewhere. I can't remember the name of the place, but anyway, I will keep you guys posted on that. So I am back on the trail, and I got to tell y'all, Wednesday, when I got done, you guys heard at the end of last week's podcast, I was pretty much worked. So I decided to take a day off, chill, relax, kind of do some grocery shopping, get reset for these next 6 days, days 5 through 10 of section hiking in New York, and then finishing up this state right at the New York-Connecticut border. And then we are going to be moving on to the northeast part of the state for some more hiking, not on the Appalachian Trail, but I promise y'all, you will not be disappointed where we are heading soon. And by the end of this episode, I will let y'all know where we are headed, because I am going to be doing more podcasting and more content from this area as well. And today's 8.7 miles does not look as tough as the day before. I don't know why I got worked over that day. But maybe it was just my body indicating it was time for a day off. So I did that and enjoyed every single second. Made breakfast at the campground, had some eggs, had some protein in the coffee like I do every morning. We went out to a later lunch, and I got some pork chops and some broccoli. And for lunch, I was only able to eat one pork chop. And then for dinner, I had the other pork chop. So yesterday was a real clean, healthy day of eating. And feel great this morning. When I started, it was a whopping 55 degrees. And I think today the high is only in the lower to mid 70s with relatively low humidity. So today should be a great hiking day out on the Appalachian Trail. And y'all, I am getting ready to cross another gravel road here. So I will be back somewhere around midday to keep y'all posted and let you know what is happening. But for now, have an awesome day. All right, y'all. I am still here, day 5, walking on the Appalachian Trail in the state of New York. And I am currently about 3 miles south of Dennytown Rd, where I am being picked up today. And today has been a very interesting day, to say the least. So after I got done recording with y'all, that brief recording earlier that you just heard, I kind of put everything away and I was listening to a biblical podcast. It's called Back Porch Theology, and the host is Lisa Harper, and I love her to death. Very inspirational, exceptional storyteller. And one of her guests she had on today was talking about the story of the woman that washed Jesus's feet and went into detail. And I finished listening to the episode and just kind of been walking today in what's known as, famously on the Appalachian Trail, the Green Tunnel. Just some ups and downs, some brown path footing, some rocky footing, just some varied terrain. Not a lot of elevation gain up and down. Just one of those traditional days on the AT where you're just kind of in the Green Tunnel. And I was just being very thankful. Just thanking for things that have gone on in my life. And, thank you for healing. Thank you for people that are in my life. And just that kind of morning. And I got out to a clearing in the road. And I'm going to go back on far out so I can tell you the name of that road. Where was it? Let's see here. Nope, not that road. Need to go backwards here. Old Albany Post Road. And I walked out across the road and I saw a jug of water kind of sitting on a little bench. And then I looked to my right and it was one of those in somebody's yard. There were 2 beautiful wooden chairs, and in the middle of it was like one of those little libraries, small little book libraries, that you can, take a book if you want to, put a book in there if you want to. And I decided to sit in one of those chairs and, take a rest. I had just taken off my shoe and was going to let the sun hit my foot and just kind of take a little rest there, eat a little something. And so I took out my phone and I noticed a message from a very dear friend of mine. And I didn't read the message at first. It just kept scrolling and I was like, okay, something's not right. So I found out today that one of the search and rescue team members in Haywood County that Austin and I based our film around, called Safe and Found. Our company, Jester Productions, we produced that film and we got very close with a few members of the search and rescue team of the Haywood County Search and Rescue Team in Western North Carolina, and found out one of the team members that we actually interviewed, and he is actually in the movie, tragically passed away in a road bike accident. And y'all, life is short. And so I immediately called this person sitting right there on the trail by that little book library. And we had a conversation, and my heart is heavy as I continue these miles this afternoon of life is short. Take advantage, take full, extreme advantage that you can of every single day. Take risks, take chances. Love your family. Contact people that you haven't talked to in a while. Tell them you love them. And because you just never know. You just never know. And my heart is full and prayerful for this individual's family, for friends, for search and rescue team members, for everybody. Y'all, you just don't know if you're going to wake up that morning, if you're going to make it through the day. And I know that is something that, oh, Jester, blah, 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 you can't think about that. No, for the most part, you don't think about that on a daily basis. But you can think about telling people that you love them. You can talk to friends that you haven't talked to in a while and tell them what they mean to you. And just live a full life. That's what you can do. And I am just going to continue this afternoon, thinking about that family, praying as I'm on the trail, and just being thankful just to be able to be out here and walk in this beautiful country that we have and live life to the fullest. So that is where I am at today. I know this is probably not something that you want to hear on the podcast, but this is real life. And real life happens when you're out on the trail. You guys will remember, I think it was last episode, just a couple weeks ago, I had a former colleague pass away that I've known for years and years and years. He was 47 years old. And then I get the news today, and this gentleman was in his 60s, way young, really young, living his best life. And had a major impact on the community there. And so that is where I'm at today. I've probably got just under 3 miles until I hit Dennytown Rd. And that'll put a wrap on today. And I'll be back tomorrow, y'all, for day number 6 here in New York. I had to remember what day it was. So I encourage each and every one of you, when you hear this, call somebody, text somebody, tell them you love them, contact somebody you haven't contacted in a while, surprise them, let them know you're here for them, because life is short. All right, y'all, I'll be back tomorrow, day 6. Here we are, back on the Appalachian Trail, day number 6 of hiking in New York. And this morning, I got dropped off back at Dennytown Rd, which is northbound mile 1,423.8. And I am going today to New York, Route 301, northbound mile 1,427.5, which is going to make it a 3.7 mile day. And I'm going to go back and try to remember what happened on day 5. First of all, the recording you just heard, I think I said it was day 6. That was actually day 5. Today is day 6. And when I ended at Dennytown Rd a couple days ago, Stephanie and I decided that we would go into a small little town called Fishkill and get a hotel room, because y'all, we've been traveling about 16 or 17 days at that point, and we decided we wanted to go to a hotel room and kind of cool down and chill out. And that was Friday evening. And then Saturday, we decided to stay there. So Saturday, kind of got regrouped, did laundry, hung out in the hotel room all day long. And it also reminded me, not only am I out here hiking, but I'm also on vacation. So it was good to chill out in the hotel. And it just so happened to coincide with the Western States 100. So I literally got my computer out and watched the live stream of the Western States 100 and listened to all the commentary and everything that came along with that awesome live stream. As I am walking this morning, there are still people out on the Western States 100 course out in California. If you have not looked that up, I will put a link in the description of the show notes so you guys can have a direct link to that race that I've been following for many, many, many years. And yeah, so I think the race ends. You get 30 hours to go 100 miles. And I woke up this morning and the winners on the men's and the women's side had finished the race. I think the men's winner, Jim Walmsley, finished the race in like 14 and a half hours. And then the women's winner finished in just under 16 hours. So fantastic to see that this morning. And so maybe by the time I finish today, I'll be able to catch what they call the golden hour. And the golden hour is the last hour of the race, hour 29 to 30. And when I tell you that place is packed, they finish actually on a track at a place called Placer High School. And that place is packed, cheering on every last single runner that meets the cutoff. And it is actually very, very, very inspiring because as the people are finishing, of course, the commentators are giving backstories and everybody is just an emotional mess. And there is always somebody that hits the track around 29 hours, 59 minutes, and they got like a minute to get around the track. And I mean, that place goes ballistic. So hopefully I'll be done today, this 3.7 miles, and we will get checked back in to Fonstott State Park. So we decided that we would finish out this section of the AT by staying at Fonstott State Park, I think for the next 3 or 4 nights. And then we will be heading to our next adventure, which I am really excited about. In addition to watching Western States yesterday, I was able to go on a particular website and map out my next 9 hikes. Not necessarily map out, but research and investigate. And I am really excited to bring you that next series of hikes after this. And y'all, I am really sorry. I am climbing and totally out of breath already. Not even a half a mile in. But it's a great day to be out on the Appalachian Trail. It's a little muggy, a lot humid, and I've got white blazes right here in front of me. So I will be back, I am sure, before I finish out this 3.7 mile day. And like I was saying before I got totally out of breath, I was able to research and investigate the next series of hikes that are going to happen in a place that I have never been to, in a mountain range that I have never been to or hiked on. And when I tell y'all what it is, you are not going to be surprised. So I am going to carry on hiking. Looks like I got a nice little hill climb ahead of me. Hope y'all are having a fantastic day so far. And I will be back to round out day number 6. I am back. I am in the last half mile of today's hike. And oh my goodness, this day 6 should be titled Bugs, Mosquitoes, and Flies. I knew it was going to be muggy and buggy, but I didn't know it was going to be this muggy and buggy. I have put on bug spray. I have my safety bandana that I usually have hanging off the front of my pack that I got from the Appalachian Trail Conservancy many, many years ago. I have put it over the top of my head and put my hat back on. And that seems to be keeping at least the mosquitoes away from my ears and my neck. And y'all, today's hike was short, sweet, and to the point. Nice terrain. There was a little bit of climbing. But for this last half mile, I am on smooth, single track terrain. And am going to be picked up at New York 301. And I believe Canopus Lake. I'll get back to y'all tomorrow if I got that wrong. And yeah, I think we are going to get checked back into Fondstock State Park Campground. Then we're going to go over to the lake and have a picnic and hang out. And I am going to grill out probably a good afternoon lunch and then eat the leftovers for dinner. I think I still have some chicken breast in our refrigerator in the van that I need to cook up. And that sounds absolutely fantastic. And I have been using, for some reason on this trip, my favorite seasoning on the chicken is Smokehouse Maple. And it just seems to hit the spot. Not even on the chicken, on the eggs, on everything that we're cooking. So, y'all, life is good today. Nice, easy hike, 3.7 miles from Dennytown Rd to New York 301 and Canopus Lake. Again, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. But I did want to let y'all know that I have started listening to a new audiobook called Necessary Endings. And let me find the author here. Henry Cloud. Necessary Endings by Henry Cloud. And I am really only in the first chapter. And he is going over, there's 3 types of necessary endings, and there's a pruning process in your life. And I heard about this book from another podcast that I listened to, the Nick Bear podcast. He is a small business owner of Bear Performance Nutrition, which is where I get my collagen protein. And he started the business from the ground up, from his college dorm room. And he was also doing his business while he was in the Army. And I love following his entrepreneurial spirit, his leadership, and just the day in and day out of managing his business. And I admire that. So when he said, hey, y'all, he probably didn't say, hey, y'all. He probably said, you all should check out the book Necessary Endings. And so far, basically 2 chapters in, it's very interesting not only because endings are necessary in our life, but applicable to some things that are stirring around in my mind right now about necessary endings. And I will leave you all on that note. So, I've probably got 0.3 to go to the parking lot and then go enjoy the rest of the day. And then I will be back tomorrow for day 7 here in New York, counting them down until we leave the Appalachian Trail and head on to our next adventure. Until then, enjoy your day, and I'll be back tomorrow. Welcome back, everybody. And today is July 1st, 2024, day number 7 of section hiking here on the Appalachian Trail in New York. And I just started this morning from New York Route 301, which is northbound mile marker 1,427.5. And today I am going to Long Hill Road, which is northbound AT mile marker 1,432.1, which is going to make it a 4.7 mile day. And for some reason, once again, I started recording the podcast going uphill, so already out of breath. And today is a great day, July 1st, 2024, 6-month anniversary that I have been doing the Seek to Do More program. Y'all know I started January 1st, and today, 6-month anniversary, and the weather is fantastic this morning. Clear skies, nice breeze, and I'm going to look up the weather. I believe we'll see here in just a second. It is 57 degrees. So could not be happier with how the day is starting. And you know what? Going uphill to start the day gets those lungs on fire, gets the legs on fire, and it's a good warm-up. So yesterday ended the day at New York 301. Then Stephanie and I went to the lake. We hung out at the little beach area not far from here, Canopus Lake. And then we got resituated back into Fonsdock State Park Campground. We are now at site number 25. And then yesterday, when we got to the campground, it was about an hour before it just started pouring down the rain, and it was great. There's nothing like rain pouring down on the roof of the van or the roof of a tent. And we chilled out, and I watched the rest of the Western states, which I mentioned yesterday, the closing ceremonies and all that wonderful stuff. And now it is only a couple weeks until the Hard Rock 100. And y'all know, multiple guest of the podcast, Tara Dower, is actually in the Hard Rock 100 this year. I thought we might be back out there this year, but we decided to make it an East Coast kind of summer. So Tara, we are sending you our best. And y'all know she is also going to be starting her Appalachian Trail FKT southbound attempt in August. So lots of fun stuff coming up. and still out of breath, y'all. And still climbing. So today's 4.7 mile trek actually takes us a nice walk around Cannabis Lake, where we spent the day yesterday. And then I will end at a place called Long Hill Road. I finally started having some memories yesterday of this area from back in 2015. And it prompted me going to the lake and seeing the concession stand and remembering that the individuals I was hiking with, we went down to the lake on a Blue Blaze side trail. We got food from the concession stand, and that was great to reminisce yesterday from back in 2015. So today, I am just hiking the trail as thankful as I can be. And sometimes being thankful and being in a happy mood, it scares me because I'm like, ooh, when is something bad gonna happen? But I gotta get over that mindset because, y'all, it's okay to be happy. It's okay to be in a good mood. It's okay to look back, for me, on the last 6 months of work that I have put in and be thankful that I am out here on the trail, pain-free, hiking, and putting in some miles toward that second Appalachian Trail completion of a section hike. And I feel really good about it. And yeah, so today, thankful, grateful, honored to be part of the Seek to Do More program. And for those of my brothers and sisters that are in the Seek to Do More program, a couple of you have joined from the podcast. So if you are listening to this, congratulations. You're on the right journey to a new and improved you, and honestly, an amazing lifestyle and standards to live by and daily goals to meet. And I absolutely love it. And as I'm walking here on the trail, I must be the first one that is on this section this morning because I'm combating spider webs, and I love that as well. So I'm going to get on with the hike today. I will be back here shortly to give y'all an update and probably round out the day. I'm going to continue listening to the book by Henry Cloud called Necessary Endings. And yesterday I ended at the part, really it's the beginning of the book, where he talks about the craft of gardening a rose bush and what it takes to keep a rose bush happy, healthy, alive, and flourishing. And there are 3 different ways you can prune a rose bush. One is getting rid of all the dead limbs. 2 is picking out healthy limbs that are not necessarily thriving. And the gardener has to pick out which one of those healthy limbs is holding the rose bush back from growing and flourishing. So 2, getting rid of healthy limbs that aren't necessarily impacting the rose bush as a whole. And then the 3rd way, and these are not in order by any means, is getting rid of the diseased limbs around the bush that look like they're flourishing, but they're dead inside and they're diseased, and there's just nothing else you can do after you nurture those limbs. You just got to cut them off. So you can imagine how all 3 of those things could apply in your business world. in your working world and in your personal life. So I am going to continue with listening to that book this morning, and I'll be back real soon. Until then, have an awesome day. All right, y'all, I am back, still hiking on the Appalachian Trail. Day number 7. I am within my last mile until I am going to get picked up for the day. And today's terrain has been, as far as elevation, it's been relatively no big deal. But navigating the trail and the footwork has been tricky in times. Other times, like right now, it is a smooth sailing brown path. But it has been rocky, rooty, and the most amazing thing, on my right-hand side, I have seen various views along the way of the lake. So that has been awesome. And I imagine in the fall, without all of these leaves on the trees, you would have a good 4 to 5 miles if you are hiking northbound of seeing the lake views, all the boats, all the goodness that comes with being out on the lake. So I will say that today's footing, getting back to that, has been tricky. So navigating, making decisions, where to put your foot, where to step down, where's the next best place to go. And despite me not really liking that kind of trail, I like that kind of trail because you have to navigate, you have to purpose, and you have to be strategic where you put your feet. So I like that aspect of it. Even though this type of trail does take longer to navigate, it takes longer to go a mile, and but your mind is thinking constantly because you cannot lift your head up or you'll stumble. And in my case, if I'm hiking with somebody and I'm on this type of terrain, inevitably, if I look up, I will trip over a root, a small rock on the trail, I will stumble. So this is the kind of day that your brain is activated for however long it takes you to go 4.75 miles or longer, depending on what kind of day you're doing on the trail. And this type of day will exhaust you as much as a long, smooth, southern Appalachian kind of day on the trail where you can put in more miles on smoother terrain. So it's all relative depending on where you're hiking on the trail. And that is the beauty of the Appalachian Trail. So I am getting ready to wind up this hike, July the 1st. I have still continued to celebrate 6 months of being on the Seek to Do More program and changing my lifestyle and getting healthier and feeling better out on the trail and just physically and mentally and spiritually feeling better in my life. And as I'm listening to this audiobook, I guess I started pruning before I really understood what pruning was. And my first stage of pruning in my life started back last October in 2023 when I left a job at a school that I was at for 19 years, stepped down, took a different position, and started at another school within the same school district and went back to the classroom. And hindsight is always 20/20. You can always reflect on your decisions after the fact. And that was an amazing, hard decision, pruning moment in my life. And I do not regret that. In fact, for the first time in 19 summers, I am not worried about work. I'm not worried about reading emails. I'm not worried about who might call me. I'm actually excited about the school year starting in August. I'm excited about the people I work with. So that was pruning decision number 1. Pruning decision number 2 was taking the step at asking for help in December when my hiking clothes did not fit me and I was totally embarrassed. And I reached out to James and I started following the 7 commitments of the Seek to Do More program and utilizing James as a one-on-one coach. I can't even go back to the person that I was on January 1st when my hiking clothes didn't fit. And now, July 1st, I need to buy new hiking shorts because they don't fit again because they're falling off of me. So that is an amazing feeling. So just in a short amount of time, 6 months, you can drastically change your life if you consistently put in the work day after day after day after day, and you don't let people jab you and twist you and turn you and pivot you in different directions than you set your mind on. So that was pruning number 2. So we've got the job, pruned that up, made it better. We got my health, still in the pruning process of that, totally making it better. And now I am pruning and working on my relationship with the Appalachian Trail and what it means to me now, 18 years later, versus what the Appalachian Trail meant to me when I started hiking on this trail in 2006. And I will leave today's episode with that and get back to more information on that tomorrow on day 8. And then on day 9, that will be my final day here in New York out on the Appalachian Trail. And on day 9, I'll let you know what adventure is next. Until then, have a fantastic day and we'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day number 8 out on the Appalachian Trail, getting in some section hiking in the state of New York. And of course, it would only be fitting that I start the podcast on an uphill and out of breath. So I am going to stop here. Started this morning back at Long Hill Road, AT northbound mile 1432.1. And today I am going to New York 52, which is AT mile marker northbound 1439.6, which makes it a 7.5 mile day. And I am excited because at New York 52, there is a deli and pizza joint. And I have not had a deli sandwich, pizza or pasta, or anything of the Italian food nature since December 25th, 2023, when my family and I, for Christmas, had my Grandma McDaniel's, rest in peace, Grandma McDaniel, spaghetti recipe, meatballs, all that yummy stuff. And I'm not quite sure I'm going to want it today. So we shall see. But today looks like a pretty good elevation day. 1,800 feet of climbing and 1,600 feet or so of descent. And I am in the first half mile or so and already out of breath. But the footing so far, so good this morning. Nice brown path. Not too many rocks and roots and rock slabs yet, but I know those are to come for today. So today, day 8, tomorrow, day 9, and then I think I am actually going to throw a day 10 in there and hike a short mile day on the 4th of July, and then head to our new destination for the next 2 weeks. Yep, where we are going to be there for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of hiking, 2 weeks of new trail, and 2 weeks of meeting people that I am excited to meet and have been on a certain journey with for several months. So it'll be good to meet people face to face. So anyway, that is where I am at today. And I am going to continue listening to the book by Henry Cloud called Necessary Endings. And it is all about pruning in your life, whether that's in your small business, in your leadership role, in the workplace, at your home, in your family life, in your personal life. And the book is based around 3 pruning principles that a rosebush gardener must do or adhere to in order for a rose bush to fully bloom. And I kind of wanted to go through, I know I've been explaining this over the past couple days, but I want to formally read to you the 3 pruning principles that a gardener must do. So I copied and pasted them into some notes in my phone. And the first one is, the gardener must make the difficult decision to prune the good buds in order to redirect the flow of nutrients to the best buds. What would happen if we were to prune back some of the good for the sake of the best? And the second one is, at times, make the difficult decision to remove the ailing branch because it is simply consuming too much energy or spreading its disease. We limp along with broken relationships, hang on to toxic habits, and linger in commitments that deplete us physically or emotionally. And the third one is, many rose bushes have branches or buds that are already dead and taking up valuable space for potential growth of the living. What would happen if we removed all the things and relationships in our lives that could never be revived? Endings are hard, but they are necessary. So that is where I've kind of left off in the book, learning and diving deeper into each one of these 3 principles. And that is where I'm going to pick up today along the way as I am hiking. So again, thinking about healthy things in my life, but they're not thriving and they're not for the best of my overall goals. Getting rid of the dead branches and removing things that are just not revivable in my life. And then pondering on this thought today, endings are hard, but they are necessary. And yesterday I also talked about, my own pruning with my job, with getting healthier in my life. And then the third thing I am pruning and tweaking and working on is my overall 18-year relationship with the Appalachian Trail. And as I ponder on that relationship today, I'll talk about more in the second half of the day when I come back. So hopefully all of you are having a fantastic day, and I will be back soon. Welcome back to the second part of day number 8. And today has been great. I'm about a mile and a half from New York 52 at the deli, at the pizza place, and it will be TBD to be determined. Yes, what I will get at the deli. But today has been a day of meeting people, cool story right off the bat. After I just got done recording, I met these 4 women that are out section hiking the trail, and their collective group name is the Wandering Wenches. Yeah, you heard me right. The Wandering Wenches. And we were stated there talking for just a few minutes. And last year they section hiked New Jersey, and this year they were section hiking New York. And I was kind of telling them what I was out here doing, and they were like, "Oh, we have pins." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And so one of them, the second one in line, there were 4 of them, she got out this bag of pins and she said, "Pick out whatever pin you want." So I picked out a pin, and I have since put it on my hat. It is a pin of the mountains, and it will continually remind me of meeting these fantastic women that are taking time out of their lives away from their family to get out and section hike the Appalachian Trail. And I gave them some stickers and told them about the podcast, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome." So it's really cool. I've been on the trail hiking 18 days, and this is the first day that I've met a lot of women on trail that are out section hiking and through hiking. First thing this morning, I met 2 girls that were out doing a slack pack. They are through hiking. One of the girls, her uncle lives here in the New York area, and he was slack packing them for a couple days. And I talked to them for a few minutes, and then they were gone. And I told them about the deli, and they were like, "Yes, we didn't see that. We are definitely going down to the deli." And then about 2 miles later, I hit the area where the RPH shelter is, and there were a couple through hiker guys there, and chatted with them for a second. And then another girl there through hiking, chatted with her for a second, and then I kind of took off. And then just a little bit later, they all went by me on the trail. So who knows, maybe I'll see them down here at the deli. But today's terrain has been not too bad, actually. Some really, really nice brown path areas of trail, and then some rocky areas, of course. And then I just went through a nice little area with overgrown blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries. So that was a great area to go through. It was really short on the trail, but a lot of blackberries, raspberries. They are now coming into being ripe, I guess. So whenever I see blackberries and raspberries and blueberries, I'm like, "Well, got to look out for bear," because we all know they like to eat those beautiful, wonderful blackberries and raspberries just like we do. So anyway, today's been a great hike. I have continued to listen to Necessary Endings. And still working on my relationship with the Appalachian Trail, and how I'm going to put that to rest this summer, where I'm going to end up, and how I'm going to put a nice little bow on things. And I will keep you all posted on that. Yeah, that is about it for the day. I am working on the downhill section of trail. That's going to take me down to New York 52, and that will wrap up my day. We will head back to Fonsstock State Park for our last night in the park. I am going to hike, I believe it's another 7.5 miles tomorrow, which is going to be July 3rd. And then on July 4th, I'm going to get up real early, get dropped off, and hike a 5-mile section the morning of July 4th. And then we will be headed toward the northeast of the Empire State for the next couple weeks for more hiking and all that good stuff. And obviously more content, different content, but more content for the podcast. So I just noticed the birds. I have not heard the birds in a while. Hopefully the mic is picking up that sound. Just stopped there for a little bit. So I will end it on that note. I'm going to continue listening to the birds, and I'll be back tomorrow for day 9 of section hiking in New York. Welcome back, everybody, and day number 9 here in the Empire State on the Appalachian Trail this morning. I started at New York 52, where I left off yesterday at mile marker 1,439.6. And today I am going to, I believe, Highway 55 at a trailhead parking, which is going to put me at mile marker 1,446.9, making it another 7.5 mile day. And before I tell you all what I ended up getting at the deli yesterday, I failed to mention, not yesterday at Long Hill Road where I started, but at the end of the day on, I believe it was Monday, at Long Hill Road, right before the downhill to get down to the trailhead parking where I was going to get picked up. You know, New York has some surprises. And one of the surprises I came across at the top of a peak, and it is the 9/11 memorial flag that is painted on the rock up there. And I totally forgot about that. And I got some great video and some great pictures because it looked like it was just repainted. It was fresh. Like I said, it looked like it was just repainted. And it was really cool to see that again because I had forgotten about that marking on the rock there at the top of that mountain before heading down to the trailhead parking at Long Hill Road. And I am going to put that video out on my Instagram and over on my YouTube channel. That short, or that reel rather, of that freshly painted flag up there. It's only fitting to come out on July the 4th. So wanted to share that with you guys. And so let's get to yesterday. So finished the hike up yesterday and went down to the deli market / pizza place. And it was absolutely fantastic. They had boar's head meat. So I got me, I think it was a 7-inch sandwich or sub on white bread. I have not had white bread in forever. With lettuce, pickles, tomatoes, all the things. And I was able to eat half of that sandwich. And then I was totally full. There was so much meat on there. And then for dinner, I had the other half of the sandwich. So yesterday's meal ended up being 2 meals. Can't call it a foot long because I believe it was a 7-inch sub on white bread. So much meat. And the guy working in there was so nice. And they kind of own both places, the deli and the pizza place. And several of the hikers that I saw on the trail yesterday were already down there, had their shoes off, feet airing out in the sun, eating their sandwiches. So it was good to see all those guys again down there enjoying. And yeah, I loved every second of eating that sandwich. Oh my gosh, the bread was so fresh. It was kind of like the white bread that is so fresh it wants to stick in your mouth, but it doesn't because you have so much meat on the sandwich. So it was absolutely fantastic. So I have started off this 7.5 miles on some pretty cruisy brown path. So far, so good. Not sure how the day is going to play out, and not sure what surprises I will see today. But again, I am going 7.5 miles, and I'm going to end at a trailhead parking somewhere along New York 55. And then tomorrow is July the 4th. And tomorrow I am going to do a 5-mile hike to the Dover Oak. So if you guys remember, there is the Kiefer Oak or the Keffer Oak in Virginia, just north of Perrysburg, Virginia, or Parisburg, Virginia. And then I believe the Dover Oak, which I am going to end at tomorrow. Before we turn the car or the van toward the northeast of the state, gonna do a little 5-mile hike in the morning. If I remember correctly, that 5-mile hike is not bad. Really decent terrain. And then Stephanie is gonna pick me up at the Dover Oak, and we're gonna put a nice little bow on my section hiking the Appalachian Trail for now, because after we leave our destination, we're going to come back. I'm going to do 2 more days, and then that will put the final bow on this summer's Appalachian Trail section hiking. And I'll talk about that more when I come up here in a few miles. And not only round out day number 9, but I am going to round out the episode here. Not going to record tomorrow. Going to enjoy the 5-mile hike on 4th of July. And then we've got a few hours of driving to do to get to our next campsite, which is, not going to say it now, going to make y'all wait. Anyway, when I come back to close out the day, I'll close out the day, tell you about how the day went, talk about where we're going next, and what to expect coming up for, of course, y'all, I'm going to close this out going uphill, out of breath. My nice cruisy trail has turned into uphill. So I will be back soon. Hope y'all have a fantastic morning. Coming back at you again on day 9 of hiking on the Appalachian Trail in the state of New York. And I've got about 1.3 miles until I'm going to meet Stephanie in the van at a road crossing at mile 5 for the day. And then I decided at that road crossing, I am going to do another pack shakedown. But what I have been carrying daily for the first 19 days of being out here on the trail. And it is basically, I'm going to call it What's in Jester's Day Pack. So the next Saturday after this episode releases, that episode will release. I'm going to put out a video version and an audio version. So I thought that might be pretty cool because honestly, I have no clue what is in the inside of my pack anymore, because from day 1, when we hit the Shenandoah National Park, I took some things out and really got my pack dialed in as a slack pack, or I just call it a day pack, and the 10 essentials. And this is basically what I keep in my pack at all times, whether I'm going out for a hike at home or here on the Appalachian Trail, and what I will use for my next adventure coming up that I'm going to tell y'all real soon. But I wanted to come back on because this has been on my mind for the last couple miles and talk about this topic specifically before I end out the episode. Y'all know I have been listening to the audiobook Necessary Endings, And I've talked to you all about my new relationship with my job and how I operate in the workforce, took a new job, stepped down, all that good stuff. I have been very open about how I am changing my lifestyle. And this all hit when I turned 50. So before I turned 50, I kept saying, when I turn 50, I'm going to do X. When I turn 50, I'm going to do this. So when I turned 50, I decided I needed to put my money where my mouth was and stop talking about it and start taking action on it. And while I've been out here on the trail the past 19 days, I have been reflecting about my relationship with the trail over the last 18 years. And I started section hiking before anybody even called it section hiking in the summer of 2006. And I have been out in some form or capacity on the Appalachian Trail every summer since 2006. And the job that I have allows me to do that. And I love it. And I come out here and reset, refocus, and try to get my mind right for the next school year. And that is a pattern that I have been in for the last 18 years. And of course, I have gone out and done other trails and do other hiking. But the main focus, honestly, has been hiking on this footpath from Georgia to Maine. And 18 years ago, I've been reflecting, I was 32 years old. And that just seems like a totally different person from the individual I am now. All gung-ho on the trail, hiking as many miles as possible, going as fast as I can, inviting everybody and their brother, including my brother-in-laws, to come out and hike with me on the trail. You know, seeing how many times I could hike Georgia, seeing how many times I could go up and over the Roans and Carver's Gap, and seeing how many people, you know, I could get to go through the Smokies with me. And that all carried on. And then I finally decided somewhere around 2012, 13, I really needed to focus on completing the Appalachian Trail. So that's what I did. I became this hardcore completist. No matter what happens, I must complete the Appalachian Trail. And in 2015, I fell trying to complete the trail in a freak accident on Mount Moosilauke, dislocated my shoulder. In 2016, freak accident in a hostel, dislocated my shoulder again, crazy. Or excuse me, I got those years wrong. 2014, dislocated my shoulder on Mount Moosilauke. 2015, dislocated my shoulder the morning I was supposed to go hike Moosilauke again. Ended up going home, having labrum surgery on my right shoulder. 2016 is the year I summited Katahdin. I decided that year, no matter what, I was going to Katahdin because, you know, based on circumstances, I didn't trust anything, so I was going to Katahdin. And then finally, the summer of 2017, I finished the trail in Rangeley, Maine. So my summit is, I think it's Route 4 in Rangeley, Maine. If I'm not, might be wrong there, but Rangeley, Maine, the road crossing there. And then, you know, 2018, went out on a trip to Zion, did the Narrows. 2019, went out to the Wonderland Trail and backpacked the 100 miles around the Wonderland Trail, which was actually wonderful. And then 2020, back out on the trail, COVID, all that stuff. And then past 2020, dealing with all the foot situation and getting that taken care of. And then all the recovery. And then to bring you, up to date right here now, hiking on the Appalachian Trail, getting in some miles for a second section hike. So with that long story being said, my relationship with the trail has certainly changed. Pounding out miles, carrying heavy backpacks, to learning you could actually day hike the trail, that there are road crossings, and finally finishing the trail, and then adding up that mileage. Oh goodness, I'm not that far away from a second completion, and here we are. So my relationship with the trail has ebbed and flowed, but it has become a pattern of my life every summer for 18 years. And part of the book, Necessary Endings, I hope you all download the audiobook or get the book and read it, because it is absolutely fantastic. It does not mean that you are going to chop things, people, jobs off at the knees every time you prune something. Sometimes pruning something is, going into a different phase, a different season with that particular job. In my instance, the Appalachian Trail. And now I am in a season where, yes, I am a female of 50 years old. Yes, I have had major surgery and trauma to my foot. And yes, I am coming to the terms with, I do not like backpacking like I used to. I've been talking about it over the last couple years. Back in 2019, Stephanie and I, we bought a Sprinter van. And every year we've been saving our money and buying something new to the van so we can get the van exactly, kind of how we want it and how we want to travel in it. And in 2024, that is exactly where we're at. So the van is very comfortable. It can go from trailhead to trailhead. We can stay in campgrounds. We can get different places. And coming out here this year with my foot, I really didn't know, what mileage I could do. What was my threshold? Where was I going to feel good? Where did I need to tune things back? And over the last 18, 19 days, I've really tried to dial in that threshold. And it really comes down to time on my feet, terrain, and mileage. So depending on what I think the terrain is going to be, meaning if it's smooth terrain like I'm on now and I'm able to walk, or if I'm going to be twisting, turning, navigating, going through rocks, takes more time on your feet to be out here. So I've been managing that puzzle. And I've been able to manage that puzzle because I do have a day pack on, and I'm able to get dropped off and test a certain amount of mileage. Now, I will say, going through the Shenandoahs, that was a good beginning of 10 days. Because that terrain, yes, it's up and down. Yes, there are climbs, but for the most part, the trail is brown path. You can walk. So on that type of terrain, my threshold in the Smokies was probably about 10 miles. We did do over 10 miles a couple days, and I really could feel that in my foot. And what I mean by that is my foot gets, I could tell it's fatigued, it's worked, and it's done its job for the day. So now that I've been up here in New York on a little bit different terrain, rockier, rootier, a little bit of a test, not getting into that New Hampshire and Maine terrain where that is just a whole different ball game, and kind of really testing where my foot is and where I am. And I feel really, really good. Over the past few days, I've done a 3.7 mile day, a 4.7 mile day, a 7.5 mile day yesterday, a 7.5 mile day today, a 5 mile day tomorrow, and then we are going to travel. And I feel so good about that. I am still out here. I'm still able to hike the trail, but it certainly looks different from Jester in 2006 to Jester in 2024. And my relationship is really good right now with the trail. I like how I'm hiking. I have no problems and no bones about saying I love to day pack or slack pack out here on the trail. Everywhere else, it's just called taking a day hike. And continuing to put these sections of trail together. And that is not a conventional way of being out here. And some people might say, oh, Jester, you're not really hiking the trail in a traditional way, this, that, or the other. And I just don't care about that stuff anymore. The only thing I care about is my happiness and how I feel out on the trail. I don't care about how many miles somebody's doing. I don't care about how fast somebody's going. It doesn't mean anything. We're all out here hiking our own different hikes. And I am really at peace with that. So that is where I'm at with my relationship with the Appalachian Trail. Do I think I'm going to finish a second completion? Yes. Do I know when? No. So what I'm trying to do this summer is put a nice little bow on things. I've been out here cleaning up some mileage that I needed to do. And what I mean by that is making sure I just have a straight line to Katahdin whenever I'm ready to untie that bow and start working on this again. It's been great being out here. It's been great tying up these loose ends. And if everything goes according to plan, after we do this is for you, Austin, our side trail adventure over to the northeast of the state, I'm going to come back, clean up 2 more days, and then I will be done with my summer hiking on the Appalachian Trail, and that will set me up for a good, nice, big bow on the situation that will leave me, all I have to do to have a second completion will be the state of Connecticut and a couple days into Massachusetts. And then I can go up to just south of Mount Moosilauke, a couple days south of Mount Moosilauke in Vermont, very, very northern into Vermont, and have a straight line to Katahdin, and then I'll be done with the trail a second time. But in the meanwhile, I feel really good about where I'm at with the trail. After we take our adventure, come back, I'll hike 2 more days. Then I'm going to put a nice bow on it. And when I'm ready to untie that bow, we'll start working on it again. So this was a long explanation, but something that I just wanted to explain my relationship with the Appalachian Trail, because I know each and every one of you that listen to the podcast, you have your own relationships with trails in your various areas, and some of you the Appalachian Trail, and everybody is on their own different adventure, and that is a-okay. So I've got a little rock scramble, it looks like, ahead of me, and then I'm going to meet Stephanie at the van. I'm going to record my What's in Jester's day pack episode that'll come out next week after this episode releases. And then I will come back and conclude the day. And I know this episode is going to be over an hour long, but that's a-okay as well. So I will be back soon. Back here again on day number 9 to close out day number 9, to close out this episode. My apologies for this being a very long episode, over an hour. That is not normally my MO, but I just realized last week's episode was over an hour as well. But if y'all have hung on until this moment, I truly appreciate it. I have about a mile or so to go until I get picked up. I did stop at the last trailhead where Stephanie met me at the van, and I did record Jester's day pack episode, and that will be coming out the very following Saturday after this one. I think that might be Saturday, July the 20th. So I will get the video version out on my YouTube, Julie Gayhart YouTube channel. And as always, you can find the podcast version on whatever app, your favorite app for listening to podcasts. So closing out this episode, I have to say these 19 days, nutritionally, I feel like I'm doing well. I'm making good choices. I'm not stuffing my face with chips or unnecessary things. No clue how much I weigh. It's been almost 3 weeks. Don't know where I stand with that, but it doesn't matter because when I get back wherever I am at, that is where I will pick up and take off for these next 6 months, rounding out the year on the Seek to Do More program. My foot seems to be doing really well, as you all just heard. I'm learning the balance of the mileage versus the terrain versus the time on feet. So I will continue to work on that. Seems to be anywhere from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 miles, depending on what the terrain and the time on feet will bring. I am very happy with that. And as you all heard, I have been enjoying the book, listening to the audiobook Necessary Endings. And I will leave you all with this. I have gotten to the point in the book where he starts explaining different types of people, how you can deal with people in the workplace, and he defines them in 3 different categories: the wise, the foolish, and the evil. I highly recommend this book, Dr. Henry Cloud, Necessary Endings. And something that needs a necessary ending is this episode. So I am going to leave you all with this. Tomorrow, after I hike a 5-mile hike on the AT, leaving from the trailhead I'm getting picked up from here shortly in a mile or so, and heading to, I don't know the name of the road, but it is where the Dover Oak is. Getting picked up there, that's 5 miles. And then Stephanie and I are heading to the Adirondacks. So we are headed to the Adirondacks for the next 2 weeks. I am excited not only to see the Adirondack Park because I've never been there, but I'm also going to meet my coach, James, in person for the first time. That is going to be awesome. I am hoping he and I can get some hikes in. Maybe he'll take me up to a high peak. Who knows how all that's going to turn out, but I've never been to the Adirondack Park. We got into a fantastic campground called Draper's Acres, and I'm sure I will tell y'all more about that in future episodes. And I have a series of 9 hikes around Lake Placid that I am going to do my best to complete. It's called the Lake Placid Niner. And my goal is, if you want to call it a goal, is to get in at least one high peak and get those 9 Lake Placid Niner hikes done. I want to enjoy Lake Placid. I want to enjoy maybe some kayaking, maybe some biking. Who knows, whatever we can get into. But after the 5-mile hike tomorrow, we are headed to the Adirondacks to hike, to bike, to meet James and his family. And hopefully I will meet some fellow Seek to Do More brothers and sisters. Maybe we'll end up going on a hike. We'll see how all that works out. And I am really excited to finally get some baked goods from the Blue Lime Bakery. So look it up on Instagram, Blue Lime Bakery, if you are in the Adirondack area. I haven't tasted them myself, but I have been waiting over 6 months to get my hands on some of those baked goods. And James's wife is the one that manages and runs the Blue Lime Bakery. So we are excited to be headed to the Adirondacks. I am excited to be getting on some different trails and to do a little bit different style of hiking, peak bagging, going up to a peak and coming back down, and working on the peaks, the 9 peaks that are specifically around Lake Placid, called the Lake Placid Niner. So I will leave you all with that. Next weekend will be what is in Jester's day pack, or what have I been carrying on the Appalachian Trail this summer in my day pack. And then the episodes after that, hopefully, will be some hiking from Lake Placid and the Adirondack Park. We are excited. So as I am walking on some nice, smooth trail right now on the Appalachian Trail, I truly, truly, truly appreciate all of you that listen to these episodes. It means so much to me. For those of you that have been listening for a long time, thank you very much. For those of you that are brand new, I appreciate you as well. And as always, be safe out there, everybody, and happy section hiking.